to Friar Talk today. Going live, get to talk about the San Diego Padres in the playoffs. It's been kind of a crazy time for the Padres in the last couple years. Maybe if you go even a little bit before the playoffs, right? Like the last time, right? You have all these massive trades. You go on this high of making the playoffs. You have a super collapsed season. It all kind of falls apart. You rebuild, you make some trades, and it's like, okay, this looks like a competitive team. Team's pretty average across the board all season long. And right now we're sitting in a spot where you have a home playoff series in the wild card round, but you are the number one team in the second half of the season. Your team feels so complete and they feel ready to go. So we'll get into this Brave series, everything like that, but it has just been kind of a roll. I mean, the whole time under AJ Preller has been a roller coaster, but this definitely feels like one of the highest highs that we've seen in this season. And the roster definitely resembles the team from 2 years ago a lot more as well. Isaac, I'm going to mute you because it's getting some feedback. But yeah, I mean, I'm super pumped heading into this one. Obviously, Padres side, game 1, Michael King. Game 2, Joe Musgrove. Game 3, if needed, is going to be Dylan Cease. I'm not exactly sure what the Braves rotation is. Going to be Max Fried. I think that's the only guy we're like for sure is there. But I believe it sounds like Chris Sale can't go. That's what it sounds like. Still kind of a TBD, but Isaac, what are you feeling about this series, man? Because it's playoff time. I'm pumped. I'm sure you are too.
Of course, man. I mean, I'm scared. I mean, really, the playoffs started today. With the Mets and the Braves. That was one of the best games I've ever seen in game 1. That was amazing. I think if there was a baseball Hall of Fame for games, the way there is for UFC matches, I think that game would go into the Hall of Fame because it was just so damn good. There was a lot of action. That felt like postseason baseball, and that kind of reminded you, like, there's no postseason better than baseball's postseason. Sure, the Super Bowl is the biggest sporting event of the year, right? But really, nothing's more special than postseason baseball, where a team like the 2019 Nationals, the 88-win Braves, the Diamondbacks from last year, the underdog stories don't happen as much in other sports as they happen in baseball. So, I mean, that's what makes you so excited about the postseason every year. And that's what makes you so excited about the Padres being in the postseason this year, right? Is that you're thinking like, hey, the Padres are the team where they traded Juan Soto. They had Xander Bogaerts coming off a down year. Manny Machado as well. Didn't know what to expect out of their new center fielder. Jerkson Profar didn't know what to expect out of him. It was kind of a team where you were thinking, kind of like in 2022, you were like, man, like, I don't know if this team's going to make the playoffs. And if they do, they're barely going to make it. No, the Padres didn't barely make it. They pretty comfortably got the 4th seed, and they're going into a playoff series at home for, the first time in 2 years. And you're looking at a team that's saying, hey, like, this isn't just a team that we think can make a run to the NLCS this year. This is a team we think might be able to make the World Series. And it's far-fetched, I understand that, but your first series is going to be up against the Braves. And coming off an emotional roller coaster of a game today for the Braves, I think tomorrow, hopefully they're not. And this is the thing about baseball, right, is you don't know what to expect ever. You don't ever know what to expect. A team could be coming off a doubleheader, going into the next day, having to fly across the country, and they could still win the ball game, because that's how unpredictable baseball is, man. That's why it's so amazing, right? And you're looking at it and you're saying, well, hey, the Braves are coming off 2 games, an emotional roller coaster, got to fly to San Diego tonight. Chris Sale will not be pitching this series. Max Fried went on the 28th, I want to say. So maybe he'll go game 2. Reynaldo Lopez went yesterday, I want to say, or today.
He came out of the pen today, I believe.
Yeah, he came out of the pen today. So, I mean, really, they're down at least 2 of their guys, unless Reynaldo Lopez will pitch off, short rest. But Chris Sale's going to be down the series. The only guy you're relying on is Max Fried. And Max Fried's been good over his last 7 starts. I believe he has under a 3 ERA, but Michael King over his last 15 plus has around a 2.2 ERA, man. He's been one of the best pitchers in the last over the past 3+ months. And if you're looking at it, you're looking at the Padres rotation, you're saying Michael King, Joe Musgrove, and Dylan Cease, they each give you a chance to win. Now, best case scenario, the Padres don't have to play game 3 and they get Dylan Cease for game 1 of the next series. But first, the task at hand is Atlanta, and I think a lot of people might be kind of underplaying Atlanta, not in the sense that, hey, maybe on paper they don't have everyone, right? They don't have Acuna, they don't have Riley, they don't have Spencer Strider, they don't have guys that make that team amazing, right? But that's the Braves, man. The Braves, somehow they find some postseason magic. Except for last year, they find postseason magic, and they're a successful organization with one of the best GMs in baseball at the helm in Brian Snitker. So they have lots of playoff experience. That's a good team, man. I don't think that's a team we should sleep on, especially in a 3-game series where anything can go. I don't necessarily feel comfortable at all. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm all the emotions you could possibly feel when it comes to a playoff baseball game. But mostly nervous because we haven't seen the Padres in a playoff baseball game in 2 years, right? And you're saying, well, hey, you don't want to lose to the Braves, but then you got to play the Dodgers, and you just came off a series where you lost the last 2 to the Dodgers in a pretty. I'd say the second game was pretty close, but the last one wasn't very close. They had an inning that blew up, and it didn't go our way. But of course, we've had other series where we've beat the Dodgers. So, it's going to be a tough road to the World Series if we are going to get there. The Braves are no pushover. The Dodgers are absolutely not a pushover. And then, of course, the Phillies, Mets, Brewers, they're all good teams as well. So it's a tough road, but nonetheless, it's a road that every team in history that's won the World Series has had to go through, a hard road. So yeah, man, I mean, it's exciting. It was a great season for the Padres. It was magical. Peter Seidler passed away, and it felt like a really, really dim. It was dim, right? It was sad because that's like that owner is the guy that put the Padres on the map. Everyone wanted to go to the Padre games. He's the reason Petco Park is going to fill up tomorrow. He's the reason Petco Park is going to fill out Tuesday through Thursday. He's the reason Petco Park has a set attendance records, right? So everything that the Padres have done is because of Peter Seidler, and I don't want to discount AJ Preller. He made amazing strides this year and finally saying, hey, you know what? I don't want to build a team of stars. Let's get a guy or two from our farm system to develop, and let's build around some depth. And he did it beautifully. That was chef's kiss, beautiful. Now, going back to Peter Seidler, man, I mean, it's awesome to see this team there. They take the Peter Seidler heart on their chest everywhere they go. They take a little thing in their dugout everywhere they go, man. I think it'd be so beautiful to have this series for Peter Seidler, or this season for Peter Seidler. Really, it's been a season that I don't think I envisioned the Padres ever having when I was a kid, just because they always lost so much. But there'd be no better way to end it than at least making the World Series, man. I mean, it's a tough road. Like I said, the Braves are good, but tomorrow starts, and tomorrow you got to start handling business for sure.
Yeah, sorry, you finished right as I took a sip of water. Okay, real quick before I get into the Padres side of it, I want to say, so I've been just on my phone right now, just searching, like going through like where the Braves are at pitching wise. So Max Fried, if he pitched tomorrow, it would be 3 days rest after pitching his last game 8 2/3.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he's going to pitch tomorrow. Then you start looking when everyone pitched. Bro, they're in a tough spot, right?
Oh, yeah.
Morton pitched yesterday. Schwellenbach pitched today. Lopez pitched today, only 1 inning, and then like 2 days ago he started. And then Chris Sale is apparently out. So they're in a bad spot. Not to mention, they just played a doubleheader and played a weekend series. So the bullpen is also just naturally going to be more taxed because they've been out there for more innings.
Yeah.
So they're in a tough spot, man.
Yeah.
And that's why we talked about, like, they need to split it. Like, we talked about that so much. It was such a big deal. And what we were saying is that we didn't want to play Sale in game 1. That's why it was a big deal if the Mets won, because then Sale would go game 2. That didn't happen. But still, instead they lose 2 of their starters potentially for this series. So mean, they might have to go like 2 bullpen days in this
Yeah.
on a bullpen that's not well rested, or have someone else come up. Or I don't know who else could pitch potentially. I'm sure like Braves fans know this more. I'm just not too locked in on them. I texted one of my friends who's a Braves fan to kind of see. But man, like it's gonna be tough for them just pitching wise. Still, it doesn't matter. Padres side, you're looking at this and you're going, you don't just like look past them. And I don't think the Padres are a team that's gonna do that. Like obviously we feel that sometimes, like teams like look ahead, right? It's playoff baseball. Like we know what they're gonna be locked in no matter what. You got your guys on the mound. So this is also a lineup that, oh yeah, like Acuna's hurt. This lineup's still good, man.
Yep.
Like anyone that thinks that this lineup's not good, look at it. They got Ozuna, who's been insane this year, right?
Matt Olson.
Matt Olson. He hasn't been quite as good, but we know like he's had some ridiculous seasons lately. Ozzy Albies also hasn't been as good this year, but it's like, all right, he's still a good hitter. Harris, he's nasty. And then they also traded for Jorge Soler, right?
Yep.
So it's like you start looking across, like Sean Murphy had a bad year, right? We talked about Sean Murphy before. He might have had a bad year this year, but in years past, he's been really good. Like these are still talented players at the end of the day. And that's the thing that matters most in the playoffs. Everything just reset right now. So, I mean, I still think their lineup's pretty legit. They got, especially like the power hitters in the middle of the lineup. It's like Ozuna, Olsen, and Soler hit back to back to back.
Yeah.
That's scary, bro. That's a scary. Those are guys that crank home runs. Those are guys that can hit 40, 50 home runs in a season, you know, like, so there's a lot of power. Oh, sorry. That's a text right there about the pitchers. Okay. So actually now we go back to that, but he just texted me back. Smith Schauber, he thinks that he gets game 1, but he said it's all a guessing game right now, which is kind of what we've discussed. Right.
Yeah.
And that's a guy that used to be like one of the Braves' top prospects. He maybe still is, but I remember the name in their farm system from a while back.
Yes.
And then obviously if the Padres win this series, they go to play the Dodgers. I feel like that's what the MLB wants, right? Like the Padre Dodgers series, they're just insane every time. Like,
come on, man.
That's what the MLB wants. But it's gonna be exciting, dude. Like the biggest thing this year that we've seen. Also, sorry, I'm clearly sick and congested, so you can hear my voice is like cracking in and out. But the biggest thing we've seen this year is that this team just feels like they just have a different type of swagger about them in the clutch moments. Like they come alive. So to be excited for the playoffs, it makes it like to a whole nother level. But you're not like you're not going into this playoffs like you talk about being like oh yeah, it's scary and stuff, like because like you have the nerves, like all that, right? But you don't feel like they're not a team that's not gonna clutch up, which is a really cool feeling to have. Because other teams, it's like, oh, well, like our stars, they don't perform in the playoffs, whatever. You know what I mean? Like obviously teams have those feelings, right? Like Orioles fans, their team's super young. They kind of fell apart at the end of the year, despite having a really good season. Their fans are probably concerned, like, are these guys not going to show up? If you're a Padre fan right now, you're not thinking like that. You're thinking, we just watched them come back in every way, shape, or form this year. We watched them, battle through injury. Because remember, like a couple months in the season, they were the most injured team in the league at one point.
Yeah.
Like 2-3 months in the year. Like it was so many. It was like, dude. And then like I remember when Manny got hurt, I was like, dude, this might be the season. Like because that's what it felt like. And he didn't really get hurt that bad, but at first it looked like he did, and it was like, dude, there's like who's gonna play? Like it looked really bad. But yeah, it's gonna be exciting. Also, we didn't talk about the whole season. Jackson Merrill, hell of a year. And really, you look at it, basically every single player had a good year. Like, not like a great year or anything like that, but everyone.
Xander Bogaerts.
Except Xander Bogaerts. So hey, maybe he's gonna get hot. He's gonna have those clutch hits, right? Have some redemption. But dude, it's been crazy just because we've seen so much of just this team just being resilient and stuff, and now it's like, all right, now it's the real time to do that. So I'm pumped.
Yeah. So I've seen a few questions in the chat. First thing, I'll respond to Devin. Rest in peace, one of the greatest hitters to ever do it, Pete Rose. Pete Rose Jr. is in the Dodgers lineup, the guy that deserves bad karma for gambling and throwing his buddy in the slammer. But yeah, man, RP Pete Rose, put him in the Hall of Fame, one of the greatest hitters to ever do it. And then Devin, you also asked, are you guys going to talk about Ha-Seong Kim? Yeah, man. I mean, quickly, I'll talk about Ha-Seong Kim. It's a huge loss. Maybe not at the plate. I understand that, at the plate, he didn't have that great of a year, but defensively, you're looking at it and you're saying, well, Xander Bogaerts is not a great shortstop. Ha-Seong Kim's presence defensively as shortstop would have been a huge difference. So that's a pretty devastating loss defensively, because you're looking at a guy that's one of the best gloves in all of baseball. So that sucks. It sucks that we might have seen Ha-Seong Kim's last game in a Padres uniform, and it was weird, man, because when it first happened, you definitely didn't think it would be a season ender. It was a 10-day IL stint at first, and then he just didn't progress the way that he had hoped, and it's unfortunate that Ha-Seong Kim's not going to be in the lineup, because in 2022, man, Ha-Seong Kim was he was pretty electrifying to have in the playoffs. He was fun. So it's unfortunate he won't get another postseason moment like the double down the line against the Dodgers 2 years ago. I've seen people talk about the Diamondbacks. The thing with the Diamondbacks is that it was a weird year this year, man. It was a weird year where the 84 win team didn't make it. The 86 win team didn't make it. You had to win 89 plus, and the Diamondbacks didn't do it. This is the first year since 2007 where both of the World Series teams ended up missing the playoffs the very next year. The Texas Rangers obviously eliminated about a week or two ago. Diamondbacks eliminated today. And the thing is, I know people were saying, well, it's not fair that the Mets seemed like they were kind of throwing that game. They weren't really trying. They ended up throwing Joey Lucchesi. They didn't throw out their best lineup. Well, hey, that's the thing, is they earned the right to be able to do whatever they wanted with that game. At the end of the day, just like the Padres last season, you don't put your hopes into another team's hands. And that's what the Diamondbacks did. And it didn't go their way on to next year. So I see people talk about Xander Bogaerts. So, man, the dreaded Xander Bogaerts discussion of this year. So, of course, when he came back, he looked healthy. He looked like he was going to be maybe not the guy that hit around an 800 OPS, 850 OPS, whatever it was, but it looked like he was going to be a solid presence in the lineup where he'd hit above 280, 290, and have around a 750 plus OPS. Well, unlike Manny Machado had an amazing second half of the season. His OPS went up above 800, I believe, to end the season. One of the very best guys towards the last 3 months of the season. Xander Bogaerts was on their trajectory, and it totally just went downhill again. Some clutch hits here and there, but the problem with Xander Bogaerts, man, is that the power is not there. You're getting a lot of singles. You're getting a lot of bloopers that just fall in, and that's not what we want to see out of Xander Bogaerts. We want to see some power, and that's been my main concern and my main complaint with Xander Bogaerts throughout his tenure in San Diego, right, is that I want to see some base hits. I want to see some extra base hits. The defense, what's really unfortunate is that Xander's defense was phenomenal in his last season in Boston. He comes over to San Diego, and suddenly the defense is really not that phenomenal, especially this season where you've had him overthrow guys, miss ground balls. I mean, it's been tough. But really, what you're saying, and like Matt, you brought up, dude, it's the postseason now, man. It's a refresh. It's a restart. It's hey, Trent Grisham was one of the worst batters in all of baseball. This guy just went out and looked like Barry Bonds for 2 series. It's hey, Austin Nola hits for no power, but here he is in the first 2 playoff series hitting clutch hits, right? That's what the postseason is all about, man. So Xander could very well be worth his contract with a couple of postseason moments, and you're hoping that batting 6th out of the lineup, he's going to be in a lot of spots where he's going to be having RBI opportunities, and you got to hope that he cashes in, because really that's how he's going to earn his money this year. Because during the season, missing all those games, and not that it's his fault, injuries happen, but missing all those games and then coming back and not exactly producing to the level that we had hoped, you got some ground to make up for. Let me see what other questions you guys have. How do we arrange our lineup Sorry, where'd that question go? As we progress, did we go offense first? Say yes until we hit a roadblock. Well, I mean, it has to be offense first, right? It's gonna always be offense first. You're facing Matt. Seems like you want to say something. Go ahead. You're muted. Oh, okay. I can't hear you if that's what you're asking. I don't know. You're muted. But anyway, what I was gonna say was your lineup is always going to be offense first. You're trying to outscore the other team. You have the pitching. Go ahead, Matt.
No, I was just asking if they can hear me.
Oh, no. Yeah, you guys you were muted, but you're good now.
I am?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I was gonna say real quick before we get the lineup, we were talking about Bogaerts of like, things that kind of scare you. I feel like I want to talk about like, the good parts of it, obviously. But I feel like everyone, like you kind of get a little bit of nerves going into the postseason, right? Of course. And so basically, sorry, I'm looking at the chat. Basically, I saw people saying, and this is a good question from Devin, do you feel comfortable with Suarez being the definitive closer? So here's the thing. Chase and I made a video, and we put a couple of videos out last week just about Jackson Merrill, about like the playoff spots, like the matchups and stuff like that. Merrill video is still definitely relevant. It was a fun video to do. But we also made one about Robert Suarez, and we were going to post it on Saturday. However, he came out and pitched. It was, I think, Friday that he pitched. And basically our conversation became irrelevant because the stuff that we were talking about, and mostly Chase was talking about, because Chase knows pitching very well. And Chase was like, look, he can't throw the changeup. He's not throwing the changeup. And Chase watches outing on Friday, and he's like, well, guys, he was throwing the changeup, and I think he looked pretty good. And that was my whole complaint of what he wasn't doing. And that was like our main conversation. And it was like, he's not throwing the changeup. He's only throwing fastballs. The location is iffy sometimes, but the fastball still looks good. It's still a great fastball, but he doesn't have something else to mix in. And then he went out and threw the changeup, and it was the best the changeup had looked in, honestly, a while. And then it was like, okay, that kind of negates the entire conversation we had. So we didn't post it because of that. Now, with all that said, that's a great sign. I am still absolutely terrified of Robert Suarez, and I will say this. Like, with Bogaerts, you can get frustrated because it's like, all right, dude, you're not performing. Robert Suarez has performed like all year. Like, I know he struggled lately or whatever. They just shouldn't be putting Robert Suarez in this spot. And so if they lose or they get knocked out, knock on wood, right? Because Robert Suarez isn't doing well in a spot, like, I don't blame him. Like, he's been slumping for 6 weeks now. Like, he's been struggling for 6 weeks. He did have a good outing, which is incredibly encouraging. But that's what I am the most afraid about, because it feels like outside of that, and like Bogaerts and Cronenworth have been struggling in the bottom of the lineup. Like, it hasn't been that bad. The lineup as a whole has been really good. You're still having guys hit well. You have your best players hot, right? Like Machado and Tatis have been really hot. Like, they've been on fire. The starting pitching has been lights out lately. The other part of the bullpen, Tanner Scott got a little roughed up, but outside of that, like Jason Adam, Scott, right? They've all been great. Morejon's been good when he comes in. Like, everything else is great. That's the only thing that is like, do you really want to do that? And we've all talked about it. Isaac, you're in the boat, right? Like,
I do not want him,
right?
I do not want him closing our playoff games. And look, Chase is right. You guys are both right. He's throwing the changeup more. However, the changeup I kept seeing, it moved. It had good movement. And he even threw that changeup in the Dodgers game. So past 2 or 3 starts where he's thrown the changeup. But I'll tell you what, he's missed a lot more than he did in 2022 with that changeup. The changeup was great in 22, right? That was the pitch that everyone was saying, damn, how did Harper lay off that? It was beautiful. It was that kind of pitch. Matt, if you pull up his baseball savant, his changeup has the worst run value out of all his pitches right now. I believe last time I checked, it was at a -6. And keep in mind, none of his pitches this year, even if the numbers show, I know sometimes you got to go based off field, but they show that honestly, none of his pitches have been great. So at one point, this whole thing was red. Now, a lot of it's blue, and it doesn't look that good, man. It's not. That is not a guy you put out there in safe situations when Tanner Scott is out there, and that shit is blood red. I mean, the answer is obvious, right? It's not. It's to us, it's obvious, and it's been obvious over the past month or so. However, I understand. Look at that shit, bro. Yeah, I understand that, switching roles is kind of hard, but it's not hard when one of your guys, who's your current closer, has been in a setup role before, and the other has been in a closer role before. You literally just flip flop them, and they've both done the role previously. It's not. It's not a matter of, hey, this is a
Okay.
demotion. Go ahead.
But here's the other thing, and this is a big comment right here. Right now, I barely trust Suarez in a close seventh inning
Yeah,
situation, which might be a little
yeah,
harsh. Dude, it's not harsh.
it's
That's the
not
thing.
hard.
It's not
I
harsh.
bet.
It's like that's why, like, I'm not even gonna I'm not even mad at Suarez. Like, I'm not gonna get upset at Suarez.
No,
He shouldn't be in this spot.
he
You know what I mean?
can't
That's
be.
the thing. That's the thing I'm afraid of. That's I.
Yeah, and Danny, I see your comment absolutely makes sense, man. It's not harsh because hearing me say that he should be the setup man, I still don't even believe in that. I really don't. His numbers don't show the numbers of a setup man. His numbers show, and hey, the Savant isn't horrible. It's not horrible. The numbers over the season aren't horrible. But the thing with that is his numbers are so inflated they look so good because his first half, or a little more than his first half, was phenomenal. Now you look at it over the past 30 games of his month or so, it's horrible. And that's all you can go off of, man. Baseball's the type of sport where you have to go based off what you see recently. You just have to go off feel, right? And so, sorry, man, I can't see that.
Okay, I'll do it.
ERA
Do, do, do,
6
do, do.
ERA in
Look,
September, 4.35 ERA in August.
but more important,
I'm
yeah, look
sorry.
at that, dude.
Post All-Star 4.28. That's not the numbers of a closer. It's just not. It's not the numbers of a 94 win or 93 win team trying to win a World Series. That's not a closer. So, um, you know, it's hard for me to say I don't even want him in the setup role, but I don't. I don't want him in the seventh either. I'm sorry. Estrada's been good. Morejon's been okay. Morejon struggled with walks recently, but I mean, hey man, this guy has to figure it out fast because right now those numbers, what they're showing is that's a guy that should be more so in low leverage situations rather than a guy that we're saying we're up by one. We need someone to go out there and close out the inning against Ozuna, Albies, whoever it is up there. That's not the guy you want. I'll stop there. I got to pee real quick. I'm going to stop the camera, mute myself, and I'll be right back.
No, but I do think I think you could probably still hear me, Isaac. But I think you're right, dude. And that's the thing. It's like you're looking and you're like I don't even want to be harsh to him, but it's like that's the thing where it's like we were talking about it before, and this was like maybe like 2 weeks ago. We're like, dude, they can't throw him, bro. Like it's like you can't lose like that, and like it's the whole thing of like, oh, we trust our guys and that stuff, and that's great, but he's not performing right now. So that's the thing I'm most terrified about. And I mean, he's got bailed out a few times. He got bailed out with the triple play, ridiculous play by Manny, right? He got, I don't know if it, I mean, he got bailed out like he still blew the save a couple times, but he got bailed out by the offense coming back either in the bottom of the ninth or in extra innings and still winning the game. I think one of those was the White Sox, but he also came in a 3-0 game and allowed a grand slam. Like, so it's just, that's the scariest thing for me coming in here, coming into the playoffs. But in terms of kind of matchups, I think the Padres offense, they got to take over in this series. And almost to the point where it's like they got to take over so we don't got to be in these tight situations. Because let me tell you, if we get into a ninth inning and it's a 1 or 2 run game and it's game 3 and a guy hits a leadoff single, I'm shitting my pants, dude. Like 100% chance. Like that's going to be terrifying. That's going to be absolutely terrifying. So it feels different. Like early in the year, dude, when Suarez would come in, it was just like boom, 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 lights out. Like no one can hit this guy. Remember he threw 45 straight fastballs, Bobby fastballs, dude. He was going off, but it hasn't been that way lately. Yeah, But I'm pumped still for this series, and I think that we get to see Fernando Tatis in the playoffs again. That's an
That's
exciting
the most
thing.
exciting thing. Yeah.
It's been quite some time. He's hot. We get to see
Yep.
Manny Machado hot, and something that we've said on this channel for a year. I mean, we've been doing this for a while now. Something that we always have brought up is, man, if we could somehow get into the playoffs with a hot Manny and a hot Tatis, that would be something. And this
Yeah.
is what's in front
This
of
is
us, you know.
This is it. Mhm.
So I want to kind of look at how good they've been, but Manny's been ridiculous lately too.
Oh yeah. You know what's funny, man, is that every time we're down in the game and Manny or Fernando come up, I normally watch the games with my family. I tell them, it's all right. Manny's got us. All right, it's all right. Fernando's got us, dude. It happens, and I don't know how, but they do it, man. And they're so electrifying. They're so fun to watch. It's a perfect. These guys look like they're made for the postseason. Right. And I like that they're going in hot. I like that, Arias hasn't been the honestly, let's talk. I wanted to go through the lineup. I'm gonna go through the lineup as fast as I can. I talk a lot. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go through the lineup as fast as I can. And you're looking at Arias, you're saying, past week he didn't look too hot. He went over in the Dodgers series. There is nothing that will boost your confidence as much as winning an award. And hey, I'm not a big batting average guy. I will say that. I'll say that shit with my chest. I do not like batting average that much. I don't think it properly evaluates a player. But for a guy like Luis Arias, whose main tool is hitting for average, there is no better thing than being the league leader in average and winning your third batting title in 3 years on your third different team. So sometimes, man, you don't even need to just be hot. You just need that boost of confidence to go up there at the plate and deliver. And I think something like a batting title does that. Then you look at Fernando. You're saying Fernando probably has over 900, 950 OPS since he came back. This guy's one of the best players in baseball, platinum glove type guy. Manny Machado has been one of the best hitters in all of baseball over the last, and his defense is back, by the way. He's been one of the best players in baseball over the past 3 months. Jerkson Profar, he's starting to get kind of hot again. I don't want to say that confidently because I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but he looks good. Manny looks good, as I said.
Doesn't matter with Profar. Profar just has that like the vibes factor.
And he has aura, bro. Like his vibes is off the charts. Merrill, of course, looks good. Xander needs to step it the hell up because he's going to need some moments. Jake Cronenworth. Hey, it doesn't look pretty. It hasn't looked pretty. But listen, that is still our God. That is our guy. And that dude turns it on in the postseason, bro. He's really fun to watch. And it seems like the brighter the lights are for Jake Cronenworth, it seems like he succeeds. So I'm excited to see Crony back in that. Higgy obviously hasn't been great, but you're hoping to get the occasional bomb. Who am I missing, man? Damn. DH Solano? No. Well, I guess, yeah, DH, because Arias might be playing first. That bothers me. I do not want Arias playing first. Matt, what do you think of that? You're muted.
Of course, I'm muted again, bro. Solano should play first base. No,
Agreed.
They cannot put Arias out there, bro. You've watched him play first base. It is bad. That's where it hurts having Kim out. That's where it really hurts defensively.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it hurts so bad.
But Solano's not a bad first baseman, I don't think.
No,
like sometimes he can't make certain plays, but like I feel like he's never done anything where I'm watching him. I'm like, oh god, like Arias, like a ball will just get hit right to him and he'll just miss it. I mean, like we've talked about this. Arias is a one-tool player.
Yes.
Luckily, he's the best at his tool. Yeah. All right, he's the best at it. But just DH him. He's way more valuable like that. Yeah. Especially because, like, I don't know. I don't think Bogaerts is like a bad shortstop, but like you have Bogaerts there, and then you also have. I mean, Bogaerts' range right now is ranked 88th percentile. Pretty good.
It's good.
His range, 88th percentile.
What? I didn't expect that.
It's because he's slow, but he has really good reactions. Like if you ever notice that, like he doesn't feel like he makes that much, but like he'll hit one and he's like already in the spot. Like he's very quick to it. Problem is his arm is like really low, really bad. I mean, we've known that, you know. Also, playing second base for part of the year probably doesn't help that either.
No, it doesn't.
To advocate for him there, right? Merrill in the 5 hole. Peralta super good off the bench. That's what is also a bummer. If you had Kim, you'd have Solano and Peralta off the bench, which, dude, Solano is raw off the
Really
bench.
good off the
Like
bench.
so that's the other thing. But I don't know, dude. I feel like, I mean, Higgy's been a little bit. He's been, not a little bit. He's been bad offensive
He's a
lately.
liability right now, yes.
But he's also your 9 hitter, so that's nice.
Take a go.
And every once in a while, he just connects with one and sends it into the Western Metal Building. So you get one of those. We've already seen this story, bro. We saw Austin Nola not that good of a season. All of a sudden, he turned it on. So
That's what I'm saying.
One of those bottom of the lineup guys, they got to turn it on.
Yeah.
But honestly, like what I really think is like, I think the offense is going to do enough, but the pitching has to also be there because we got a lot of guys in some interesting spots. Like, has Michael King ever pitched in the playoffs before?
No.
I don't think so, right? Has Dylan Cease? I know he's been in the league for a while, but has he actually? I'm gonna look it up. I don't think he has.
Maybe.
No,
maybe
he
in
has.
21. 21, right?
I know he has because I remember when we traded for him, people were like, "Look, this guy sucks." Yeah, and it's like he played like a game. He like 2 games and one was a bad outing, and it's like, all right, man. And it was like not even that bad.
Nope.
But I don't think Michael King has. Musgrove has been good, but when Musgrove's been bad this year, it's been scary. That's the only thing. And then we've already obviously talked about the bullpen. The good thing is Musgrove's been really good. Another good thing is I wouldn't be surprised if Darvish comes in if they are in a spot where they're like, he might have to in this series.
Yeah.
Ideally, you just cruise and you win too, right? Like that's what you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I'm pumped.
I'm very excited. I've seen someone ask, are you gonna go to the games? I don't know if I'm going to the wild card. I want to try. I'm not sure if I'll be able to, but if they play the Dodgers, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there if they play the Dodgers. 100%, man. I mean, it's just that like, the thing with these teams like the Dodgers, the Braves, the Yankees, they're always in the postseason. For us Padre fans, we don't know. It's a year-to-year thing. We're like, yeah, maybe they'll make it, and we're happy if they do make it. So, yeah, I'm definitely gonna try being there. I mean, it's nerve-wracking, because these games, every game matters so much, and it's so different from the regular season where like, yeah, every game in the regular season matters, but like when you play those teams in the AL, you're like, you can afford to lose these because it won't factor into your tiebreaker. It won't ruin anything. Now you're in a situation where you're saying like, well, the Braves have a ton of postseason experience. Their manager is one of the best in baseball. The Dodgers, they've lost in the NLDS. I believe it's 2 years in a row. They lost in the NLCS in 21. They lost in the NLCS in 21 to the Braves, and they lost in the NLDS against the Nationals in 2019. So off the top of your head, you're thinking, and personally, this is what I'm thinking, because I just think there's no way they do it again. However, I don't now Dave Roberts, shitty manager. I will say that. That is truly how I feel.
You remember when he pinch hit Austin Barnes, right? Against us?
Exactly.
That was insane. That was absolute insanity.
I truly feel Dave Roberts is not a good manager, and he is a product of what has been put on the field for him. Now, with that being said, and I don't want to even talk about the Dodgers because we got to get there first. But if we talk about the Dodgers real quick, it's the type of thing where you're hot going into the playoffs. Now you got to buy, and you can't play until Saturday. And your best hitter is going to be off 6 days rest or 6 days off. Baseball is a sport of consistency. Baseball is a sport of feel. You have to consistently get at-bats in order for you to have the feel and in-game at-bats, right? So with that being said, this is another situation where it's not the exact same, right? Because in 2022, the Padres had nothing to lose and they played like it. This season, the Padres do have a little more to lose, right? In my opinion, Manny doesn't get any younger. Xander doesn't get any younger. This is the best season the Padres have put together in a very long time. They do have something to lose. But the Dodgers do too. This may be Clayton Kershaw's last chance for a ring. Mookie doesn't get any younger. Freddie doesn't get any younger. So both teams are on the fence. You're in a situation where I think this is one of the greatest rivalries baseball has had in a little bit. And now both teams are on the fence where they separate themselves by 3-4 wins. The closest the NL West has been, or not the NL West, but the closest the Dodgers and the Padres have been to each other in the standings in a little while. And that could be an exciting series, but nonetheless, you got to go in there and beat the Braves first. I think I expect the home crowd to be electric. I expect the yellow towels to be waving everywhere. And we've seen it before, man. The Padres have had home playoff games during the week, and they still fucking sell out. They still do it. I don't know how, but
they sold out almost like
they do it in the regular season. Yeah. So
yeah,
it's going to be no surprise when the stadium is a packed house tomorrow. Michael King on the mound, been your best guy. That was a win-win trade. Juan Soto helped the Yankees get to their postseason. Michael King helped us. How a trade is supposed to be. I understand we weren't big fans of it at first. That's why we're not managers.
I mean, also to be fair, like, I mean, it worked out like for both sides. We're also year one.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, like,
not only that,
also the Padres also made. Another thing is the Padres made great corresponding trades, and we were like, dude, these are awesome trades. The Cease trade, we're like, we absolutely love this. You know, like that's
trade. Yes, all of it.
Yeah.
So, and if you're in the chat saying that we are dumb for saying that it was a bad trade or anything like that, you didn't want to give up Soto either. So don't lie to us.
And Yankee fans are happy they have Soto, bro.
Yeah,
it'll look pretty good this year.
Of course.
So yeah, real quick, they asked about going to games. For me, I got if it's a Mets or a Phillies. So I would only be able to go if it's championship series, right?
Yeah.
Or the Yankees.
True that.
World Series. I've already decided.
World Series, baby.
I've already decided if they play the Yankees in the World Series, I'm dropping a bag on a ticket. I got to do it, right? Like, I think it's worth it.
You have
also,
to, man. I mean,
a crazy environment.
That'd be beautiful. I mean, dude, think about it. I mean, bro, we've been waiting our whole lives for this.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I've been telling people that I hang out with, I'm like, dude, I'm going to be a wreck every single game. I'm going to be reactive to every single pitch, every single inning, every single piece of contact. But bro, there's no other sport that does that, man. That's why baseball is so awesome, because, like, dude, game by game, pitch by pitch, you are on the fence for postseason baseball. And sure, maybe it's the same for football, maybe it's the same for basketball, but not.
I was gonna say it's the same for football. I'm losing my mind every time.
Play by play, yeah, for sure.
But,
and I understand that.
But it's also different because it's one game, so of course it's naturally more intense.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, the fact that baseball is 162 games in the regular season, and it's so like lackadaisical and chill, and it's like, oh, these dudes are just chewing bubble gum and spitting seeds out on a grass field, and then it's like lock in, and it's I think it's how much it changes from the regular season to the postseason.
Yes,
it's gonna be intense.
It's gonna be intense, dude. It's super intense, and I mean, like, I don't know, man. You think about the quote from Moneyball and you say, how can you not be romantic about baseball? And today, that game where the Braves and the Mets played, it showed you why you absolutely have to be romantic about baseball. And you guys know how many more moments we're going to get like that throughout the postseason. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Thinking about Moneyball, man, I want to talk about the A's real quick, which is kind of weird. I'm sorry. Like, I know it's not the Padres, but obviously, you probably all know the A's played their last game in Oakland. And it's kind of weird because, like, yeah, Oakland's not a great sports city. I understand that. But it's not exactly like the city's given a lot to the teams, made them play in that shitty stadium that was damn near falling apart. Um, at this point, they've lost the Warriors, the Raiders, and the A's. So I just remember when the Chargers left San Diego, how much it hurt. And yeah, I'm still a fan, but it's nowhere near the same as much as I used to be. Now I watch the game and I don't even care if they lose. I'm just like, whatever. Like, I'm just, at this point, I'm just rooting so that way I have a reason to watch football on Sundays other than fantasy football. But yeah, man, I mean, that sucked. That sucks for the Oakland fans. I mean, I see all the fans that say like, hey, I used to bring my kids here. I used to come here as a kid. Like, it's a tradition for us. The way they're a wreck, I will be a wreck if the Padres lose. I will tell you that.
Dude, well, it's also interesting too, because like, look at their situation, right? Like the Warriors did leave, but like they left not that
They're
far,
close. Yeah.
right? Like it's a little bit different, but their football team left.
Yep.
Like, think about it like this, like. Not that I think San Diego is just naturally a bigger market, right? But let's not act like Oakland's not, dude. Like,
It's
let's
huge.
not act like the Bay Area can't support multiple teams in a sport.
Yeah.
It absolutely can. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But like the Padres, like, were not good. They were very bad. They were on the A's level, and then they started to get good as like right when the Chargers were leaving and stuff. But like. It's not like that far. It's like not like that insanely far. I think it is because their stadium was newer and stuff. But like in another universe, that could have been the Padres, which is really bad. Which is another way to be like, yeah, shout out Peter Seidler. You know what I mean?
Course.
Like that's where I kind of feel like that, where it's like, dude,
yeah.
like, and the fandom has got so intense, and it's like I'm not saying it's like a negative thing, like, oh yeah, we would have lost our guys, or like I don't think that would have actually happened, but it's just like. You were like a team that was not good. Yeah, the Clippers left San Diego too. There is another one.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like they had that happen, but like it's cool to see it from the other side of like the city of San Diego is so bought in, like, and that's an amazing thing to see.
And you're looking at it and you're saying, hey, if the Ken Caminettis of the world, Tony Gwynn, Kevin Browns, all these guys that ended up playing for the Padres World Series team in '98, you're saying if the Padres don't make the World Series in '98, do they get Petco Park? Right? I mean,
that's an even better point. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't know if you get Petco Park if they don't make the World Series in '98. I mean, think about it. The Chargers made an AFC Championship game, and that's all they got out of the years where they had a Hall of Fame running back, Hall of Fame tight end, solid receiving core, great defense, and they didn't make it to the Super Bowl. And I think if they would have at least made it, I think they would have maybe gotten another stadium. So it's just that, the success of the Padres is what kept them here in San Diego at the time. And of course, by the time the Padres sucked, Petco was already a thing. So, it's unfortunate for Oakland that they lost their team, but I mean, Oakland, Las Vegas, they're not too far away, but I think the A's, and maybe not. I don't know if they'll succeed in Vegas. I don't think they will. It's fucking hot.
I don't know, dude. It seems kind of random, right? Like
it does.
I mean, I guess the Raiders are doing good technically, but it's like they're kind of a mess. It's just I don't know. Their players get in trouble all the time.
Yeah, it's also like that Vegas feels like a football town. Yeah. Vegas has a very football feel. And does baseball fit in Vegas? Does a team like the A's, who have had virtually no success, fit in a market where it's, dude, you got a whole street of shit to do in Vegas. Is anyone going to want to go to an A's game? I don't know.
That's an interesting point. It's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. What else we got on the San Diego Padres? I feel like we've unfolded how we feel.
Yeah, I mean,
we didn't break it down super analytical today, but it's like,
just like baseball, sometimes you got to go off feel, and I feel like the Padres are primed for. They're not primed for it, man. But if there's a time for them to go on a postseason run, it's this year.
It feels like this year. Yeah,
it feels like this is it. It's gonna be heartbreaking if it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, only for like the 10,000th time for me, dude. Every year, bro. Every year. Yeah. I've only seen like, what is it, like 7 NFC Championship game or Super Bowl losses.
Yeah, that's
Let
true,
me
bro.
think. There was 3. Oh God, I don't know why I'm doing this. It's kind of torturing myself. There's 3, and there's the 2 Super Bowls, and then
Yep.
there's the Eagles where Purdy goes down, and it was
Yep.
like, bro, what? That was that one was fucked up.
That
Then
was
there's the Rams.
and that was
Wait,
last year.
no,
Well,
the
there was
2 Super
also the
Bowls.
game. There was also when you were
Super Bowl.
younger. They lost to Eli.
No, oh, yeah. Those were the 3 when I was younger. The 2 Super Bowls. The Rams, the Eagles. There's someone else. There's one other one I'm missing. Who was it? Who they lose to?
I don't think they lost to anyone.
I think they did. The year
Chiefs last
after.
year, Eagles before, Rams before.
Maybe they weren't. Maybe am I tripping? Maybe that's 7 though. That's enough.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's tough,
That's
bro.
enough.
Good thing. I mean, I wouldn't say good thing. I'm a Charger fan, kind of. Fuck, I don't know. They suck, so I don't have to feel that shit.
Yeah, with the Padres, it's like they've been bad lately. The last 5 years, I'd say it's been a lot better. Even though there's been ups and downs, but it's like, but they're trying to win.
Yeah,
The effort.
Yeah,
So much different
exactly.
from my
And
childhood, dude.
Yeah, because you can appreciate that they're going into the season actively trying to win, whereas shit, when we were kids, we knew like, oh, hey, baseball's back, season's over.
Dude, I remember how pumped I was for like Will Venable.
Yeah.
Kevin Kuzminoff. You know what I mean? Like those dudes were like, oh yeah, dude.
Oh yeah, like
Venable. And it's like Venable's like an average MLB player.
Yep. They had a ton of those. So yeah, man. I mean, I'm excited. I don't know what our schedule will look like this upcoming week. I remember in 22 we had a run that would feed families. We went live after almost every playoff game, if not every playoff game.
Well, I remember I was at the Mets game and I went live with you twice.
Still went live. I'm telling you guys.
That was also that was fun to go live after those
dude.
games. Like,
I'm telling you guys, that was one. Oh, dude, that was a generational run for Friar Talk. I mean, maybe we'll try it again, man. I mean, I'm free after every playoff game. Maybe we'll try it again, but
we'll have to see. I think Chase said he's around too. I have friends in town. I'm gonna be going out, but I can maybe hop on my phone. You know what I mean? Might be able to do something like that. So
yeah, because
we'll see how it goes.
100%. But other than that, man, I got nothing else. Go Padres. I think, this is the most anticipated playoffs maybe in Padres history. So, this is fucking crazy. It's gonna be so fun.
Yeah. All right, guys. Talk to y'all soon. Have a good night. Hopefully we got some good videos coming up. All right. That's what I hope. I want to be positive stuff. I hate the end of season videos, bro. Those ones suck.
Fucking
all right,
suck, dude. They're devastating.
I don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. All right. That's what I know. But yeah. All right, guys. We'll talk to y'all soon. Have a good one. Have a good night. Go Padres.